I want to thank everybody for coming this evening. It's been a real privilege to be your honorees. We still are trying to figure out why, but we consider this a real special time. And we thank you for your dollars and your time for helping our children. And Child Advocates will always be there for them. Thanks to you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Child Advocates means to me people helping abused and neglected children. So Child Advocates does their job, and it's such a good job. And abused children, neglected children come back to a wonderful life because of Child Advocates.
Child Advocates means hope for these children, and they unfortunately do need it.
If you're thinking of getting involved in this charity with your time or your money, you know, the thing to consider is that the most vulnerable folks in our society are the children. And if they're being mistreated or being abused or neglected, this organization, they're good people, they're doing great work, and it's effective.
As you all may be well aware, Child Advocates helps many children, over 2,000 a year, come back into society and find happiness in wonderful, loving homes. Tonight, we are privileged to have two of those children that have been impacted by Child Advocate speak to you all about their stories.
My first case was the Morales case. It involved two little girls, Faith and Heaven, ages 4 and 9. Faith and Heaven were living with their older sister, who was 23 years old and had one child of her own. They were also taking care of this sister and her boyfriend, so there were 7 children in the home, ages 10 to 4. And Faith and Heaven were living there because their mother had violated her parole with drugs and she had to go back to jail. The boyfriend of the sister was abusive, and he would treat the children poorly. All the kids were hungry. They all had lice when they came into care. They were scared. They didn't know what was going on. They were neglected in this home.
I remember living with my sister and her boyfriend. It wasn't good. They never fed us, and they would always hit us. It was scary sometimes. No, we didn't know when we were gonna eat. We never told our teachers because we were scared what was gonna happen. I remember getting hit when we would ask for food, and we would get hit with the belt. We got hit a lot, every day. It was scary living there.
Faith and Heaven's father was not with the mother at this time. He was living in the Corpus Christi area and was unaware that this was happening. He, when he found out that they went to live with the sister, he came from Corpus Christi to get his daughters and take them home. But the sister and her boyfriend blocked him from coming in, saying that they had the rights to keep the children, and the police were involved, and so the father left without his girls. So throughout the case, we tried to place the girls with the father, who was at the time living with his mother.
I came over here because my son asked me and told me that the girls were on a foster home, and if we can go and fight for them, you know. And I told him, well, go ahead. I'll help you all I can. And when they come and they tell him his daddy and me what they did to them, it was awful. It was awful. Because the little one, they put her mom threw them at the closet. They lock her in the closet, and they do drugs, and so it is awful. I just don't like to remember anything about, and I hope there's no more kids that go through them like them, because it was awful.
We went to trial in April of 2012 and decided that the grandmother would be the primary caregiver for the children, with the father and the mother having joint conservatorship over the girls. We really fought hard to get them there, and eventually they were moved to the grandmother's home, which couldn't have come at a better time, because it wasn't long after that the father started having some health issues. Sadly, 2 weeks later, the father died of lung cancer. But I knew that he was just hanging on to see his girls placed with his mother. I knew he was staying alive. I wrote to the parties in the case, the county attorney and the CPS and the father's attorney, and said, we have to close this case this time, because he was so sick. He couldn't stand up in court when we went to trial. But he was determined to make sure his daughters were safe and in a safe environment before he left this world.
What makes Child Advocates special is that this program has volunteers that come from all walks of life, different professions, different cultures, that we equip to be able to advocate for the best interests of the children. If Child Advocates and Kathy had not been on this case, Faith in Heaven would have fallen through the cracks. They would not be in a long-term stable placement that they're in now, and they probably wouldn't be thriving. Harris County has over 4,000 children in the foster care system right now. Child Advocates is only able to serve about half of those children due to our limited resources. A court-appointed advocate advocates for the best interests of the children in Harris County. They're usually the most constant person in a child's life that visits them monthly to make sure that all their needs are met, whether in foster care or in a relative's home. Their day-to-day role entails talking to caseworkers, attorneys, visiting the children, talking to counselors, getting to know anybody in the child's life to be able to advocate for their best interests.
At the end of the case, the boyfriend was sent to jail for 60 years, and the sister, she was given a 4-year sentence for her involvement in the abuse and not protecting these children. When I became an advocate, they try to prepare you for your case when you go through training, what you could see in a case, but I don't think anything prepares you when you start reading actual histories about children and the abuse that they've suffered. It's heartbreaking, and you just want to grab them and hold them, just make everything okay. And at least with Child Advocates, I know that part of what I do does that.
I'm grateful with Miss David because she was very nice with us and she helped us a lot. And thanks to her, we have the children.